So as we get into our lead up for DC's Darkseid War, what I want to do here is have a discussion on the origin of the Anti-Monitor, as well as where he stands in terms of DC's continuity. And the reason why is that there seems to be a bit of confusion regarding the Anti-Monitor in terms of how it was depicted in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the version that we see now with Geoff Johns' run on the Justice League. And so the Anti-Monitor was really created as a plot device more than anything else, and the reason why is because when DC launched the Crisis on Infinite Earths event in 1985 in order to reset their continuity, they needed something to kick everything off. More so than that, they needed an explanation for why the multiverse was coming to an end. Because the DC multiverse had been created as a way to explain the varying differences between characters like Superman in the 1940s versus the 1950s, as well as why it was that Barry Allen and Hal Jordan had replaced Jay Garrick and Alan Scott as a Flash and Green Lantern respectively, by the time 1985 came around, the entire history of DC was swimming in continuity issues and had largely turned into a massive confusing mess. In order to rectify this problem, under Marv Wolfman, DC launched the Crisis on Infinite Earths and effectively eliminated 50 years worth of history in 12 issues. In this story, the origin of the Anti-Monitor is given to us in tandem with the history of the Guardians of the Universe, but also serves as an in-continuity explanation of how the multiverse came into existence. Covered in issue number 7, titled Beyond the Silent Night, as we're told, prior to the creation of the Manhunters and the Green Lantern Corps, when the Guardians of the Universe were in their infancy, they had existed as a technologically advanced race called the Owens. At some point along the line, one of their numbers, a man named Krona, became obsessed with the origin of the universe. Because the Owens were advanced enough to know that the action of observing the origin of all things could result in a change to the present by way of a ripple effect, the use of their technology for this purpose was completely outlawed. However, because Krona's desire for knowledge outweighed his concern of the consequences, he broke the sacred laws and in doing so, started a chain reaction that had two consequences. The first was that the existing universe referred to as Earth 1 was replicated several times over, resulting in the formation of the multiverse. And the second was that the antimatter universe was born. Taking a look at the replication of realities, while DC and Marvel both use numerical designations for their alternate universes, unlike Marvel, DC takes a more practical approach. Rather than arbitrarily assigning numbers with no real pattern, DC provides numbers for their most prominent universes in ascending order. What this meant was that when DC created the multiverse during the Flash of Two Worlds story in 1961 and made it a point to tell us that Earth 1 was the Silver Age universe and that Earth 2 housed the Golden Age universe, in terms of the continuity within the comics, DC argued that the Silver Age universe had always been there, but wasn't revealed until the Golden Age had ended and the Silver Age started. Now regarding the antimatter universe, much like the Marvel multiverse and the Negative Zone, in the DC comics there are an infinite number of alternate realities, but there's only one antimatter universe. When Krona had observed the origin of all things and brought forth the formation of the multiverse in the antimatter universe, this resulted in the formation of the Monitor on the moon of Oa and the Anti-Monitor on the planet Cord in the antimatter universe. As we're told here, the Monitor represents all positive energy in the multiverse, and the Anti-Monitor represents all negative energy in the antimatter universe. For those coming from Marvel Comics, the best way to think about this is that the Monitor is equivalent to Marvel's Beyonder from Secret Wars, and the Anti-Monitor would be equivalent to the opposite version of the Beyonder. Now in terms of the Crisis on Infinite Earths event, the actions of the Anti-Monitor were twofold: absorb the energies of planets within his own antimatter universe in order to build his power up, and the second was to launch a series of attacks wiping out various positive realities within the multiverse. Seeking to travel back to the beginning of creation and eliminate all positive universes, leaving only the antimatter to survive, the story saw the Monitor acting as a guide of sorts, bringing the heroes from the surviving realities together in an effort to merge all of their universes into one, with the hope of combining their energies as a way to destroy the Anti-Monitor. Now where the story saw the death of the Monitor and the eventual death of the Anti-Monitor, DC used this as a way to eliminate all of the realities except for one, which was referred to as New Earth, and along the way, killed off characters like Barry Allen to make room for Wally West, and rewrote the histories of their various characters similar to what was done with the New 52. Now with the Darkseid War, the Anti-Monitor actually gets a bit of a retcon. Because the Anti-Monitor was brought back in Geoff Johns' run of the Green Lantern during the Sinestro Corps War as well as the Brightest Day and Blackest Night stories, and because the Green Lantern titles maintain their continuity from Crisis on Infinite Earths, up through the New 52, what seems to be happening here is that Geoff Johns is using the Green Lantern continuity as a way to slip the Anti-Monitor into the New 52 Justice League as part of the Darkseid War, while keeping his origin from the Crisis on Infinite Earths intact. The reason that I say this is that with Justice League issue number 40, the Anti-Monitor is revealed to have been a being named Mobius, with his history expanded on during his encounter with a man named Metron and the Mobius Chair. To sidetrack here for a second, the Mobius Chair was actually a concept created by Jack Kirby in 1971 as part of the lore surrounding the New Gods, something we discussed in my video on Darkseid. While sitting on the Mobius Chair, Metron exists as the chronicler of knowledge of all things that have ever existed and that he has ever seen, which makes him very similar to the Watcher in Marvel Comics. Now, where the situation gets a little confusing is when the discussion between the Anti-Monitor and Metron delves into the events before the New 52. As we're told, during his time on the chair, Metron had witnessed the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths as well as the subsequent crises that have altered DC's continuity over the years, including the New 52 proper. What this tells us is that unlike other characters that have received a reboot with the New 52, Metron and Anti-Monitor, like the Green Lanterns, did not, and are fully aware of reality as it existed before the New 52 was launched. Furthermore, during the events of Convergence, it was revealed that the New 52 universe exists alongside all of the other universes that existed prior to the launch of New 52. What this does is point to the fact that the Anti-Monitor, as we see him here, is the exact same Anti-Monitor that existed during the Crisis on Infinite Earths. But again, because Geoff Johns has not explicitly come out and said this, we don't know if this is absolutely true or if this version of the Anti-Monitor was rebooted with the New 52 and somehow gained knowledge of the continuities prior to DC's reboot. With that being said, we're going to bring this video to an end. I hope that cleared things up for you guys regarding the Anti-Monitor, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.